Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Meseches TEMURAH Daf Yotes. We begin 3 lines off the top of the Yom. Esvei Abaye. Abaye poses a question to whom? To Rava, who resolved an apparent contradiction. What was the kasha we had yesterday? Suppose you have an animal which appears to be suitable for its intended purpose. However, issue is that it's coming from a tainted source. For example, a fellow wanted to donate an oila. An oila is meant to be a male, a zachar. Instead, he's mafresh a nekeva, female, for an oila. Now, it doesn't work. You can't bring it as a carbon. Let's say it had a child. This velad happens to be a zachar, who's personally suitable to be used as a carbon, because the vlad of an oila has the status of an oila. He's a zachar. Let's go. So, according to the Chachamim, since the mother was unsuitable, was not kosher for oila, likewise a vlad can't be personally brought as an oila. Rather, you let it get a mum, convert the value, and use it to buy the dava for the mizbeach. According to Rav Lezer, no problem. We are makriv the vlad, despite his problematic origin. However, we found a halacha, a similar case of an asham, which generated a temurah, and that temurah was a female, which happens to have vlad. Who's a zachar? What to do with that vlad? Over there, Rav Lezer agrees, or seemed to agree. That's what it seemed from the Brisa. You can't just take it and use it as an oila, which is really what you do with a leftover asham. And it would appear that it's because he's coming from a female. His mother was not really roi for asham. So it's a direct contradiction. Here we say, if you're suitable, go for it, despite your humble origins. And here we say, no, we have to reckon with your source. And since the mother was in a keva, the vlad cannot be offered as an oil. So Rava answered, well, a big difference when he's mafresh in a keva as an oil. Even though she cannot be offered as an oil, because a behema needs to be a zohar. But if she would be a bird, you can bring a nekeva oila bird. So you see that a nekeva isn't totally and completely rejected from the oila family. There's an element of oila even on this mother here as well, because you can have oilas nekeva in some form, some variation. Hence, if we have the child of this mother who's a vlad zochar, that potential, gets actualized in the child, and you can bring him as an oila, as opposed to the case of the vlad temuras asham, where the initial, way back, the first carbon was an asham, was not meant for an oila. So likewise, this byproduct of that asham cannot be considered a direct oila. Esvei Abaye comes Abaye with a kasha. Is that the formula that it's based on? Is it so that to enable the vlad, there needs to be some shem oila al imo, there has to be an element of oila on its mother, in order for the vlad to be considered a proper carbon oila? We have a brisa as follows. A bit different, but very similar. Instead of oila or asham, it's a carbon pesach, which likewise is meant to be a zachar only. This fellow took a nekeva animal, set it aside as a carbon pesach. What do? Tira, you let it roam around until it gets a blemish. You sell it. Pesach. You take the money and buy with it a carbon pesach. Yolda, mazel tov, let's say I had a child. Likewise, you let it get a mum, pesach, use the money to buy a pesach. Okay, so part 1 of the brisa is discussing pre-Pesach. This all happened before the Yom Tov of Pesach. Nishtara la'achar Pesach. Let's say it's already past the time of the Akrovas HaPesach. And you have a Korban Pesach which is not used. The halacha is that a leftover Korban Pesach turns into a shlamim. Nishtara achar Pesach. So typically, that's what happens. A leftover Pesach, if it would have been a proper Korban Pesach, a zachar, unneeded, it turns into a shlamim. But here, it wasn't really a proper Korban Pesach. It wasn't a keva, which was never really fit personally for Korban Pesach. So after Pesach, it gets relabeled as shlamim, but not directly, rather indirectly. You convert it to money, which is used to buy a shlamim. Tira, achadistoyev, v'timacher, v'yavi b'dumei shlamim. And the same with the child of this Korban Pesach nekeva after Pesach. Yolda, we gave off birth after Pesach. Yirachet istoyev. So here is an interesting point, because this vlad, theoretically, can just be taken and used directly as a Korban shlamim. No, Yirachet istoyev. Send it off for a mum, achei istoyev, yimacher, v'yami b'dav shlamim, and use the money for a shlam. Why bother going through the whole process? Converting it to money, the vlad, is a perfect shlamim on its own. So again, we have two parts of the brisa. Firstly, we're speaking about a nekeva that was set aside for Korban Pesach, unsuitable, fine. So before Pesach, you try to convert it to a proper Pesach. That of vlad, same story. After Pesach, you convert it to a shlamim. That of vlad, the same thing. Why convert it? After Pesach, out of vlad, use the vlad for shlamim directly. And the question is, how could you do that? Look what you're doing. You're taking a vlad of an animal which was designated as a Korban Pesach, and you're bringing it as a shlamim directly? The mother had no connection to shlamim. There's no element of shlamim on the mother, which is a prerequisite for using the child for that purpose, according to what we were saying before. But now a case, there's no shame shlamim on the mother. He was magdish the mother for Pesach, not for shlamim, and still Vamar Belezer says it's okay. Yikrav shlamim, take the vlad, use it as a shlamim. I understand you can't do it to the mother because the mother had been was a deficient Korban Pesach, because it was mafresh of Korban Pesach. It didn't work, so you can't just take it and use it as a shlamim. It lost its hakrava status. You have to convert it to money. But the vlad never had that rejection, so to speak. It's an innocent vlad coming off a Korban Pesach. Well, as it says, take it for a shlamim. How could he do that? He's not coming from a shlamim. Amalei Rava. Rava responds, sure he is, because every Pesach really has within it some shlamim DNA. An unneeded Pesach turns into a shlamim. So really every Pesach is a sort of a subset of the shlamim family. So you could very well understand how it evolves into a shlamim, at least in the form of his child. Amalei Rava, Achar Pesach Ka'amris, you're talking about after Pesach? Shani Achar Pesach, the Moisar Pesach Gufei Garev Shlamim. The fact is, even an actual original Korban Pesach, a Zachar that was meant for a Pesach, was unneeded, it's after Pesach, Garev Shlamim. It's relabeled as a Shlamim, and it's brought as a Shlamim directly without converting it into money. So although in this case you can't do that to the mother animal because it was a pasul Korban Pesach, so it becomes rejected from Akrova, and you can only sort of convert into value, etc. But the offspring, he's an innocent child. If he's kosher, go ahead, use him as a shlamim. Says the Gemara, well, that answer is so good, so why don't we just say the same thing in the first case? You have an Akeva Pesach, and it's before the Yom Tif, and it had a child. Use the child for a shlamim. Right? The fact is, as Rashi points out, technically, even if a person would take a real Korban Pesach and shecht it as a shlamim before Pesach, it's kosher. Rashi says, unless it's the time of Hakravas Korban Pesach or Pesach, but otherwise a week before Pesach it's kosher for shlamim. So then, regarding the vlad of that nekeva, even if it's a week to Pesach, use it as a shlamim. If that's the case, that every Pesach is sort of interchangeable with shlamim, nifloig nami bereisha, why didn't Reb Lezer voices a position in the first case as well? Reb Lezer should hold that the vlad itself can be a shlamim. Amalei, so Rava says you're right, he does take issue with that halacha. Correct, Hachinami is true, just as he takes position in the Seifa. He opposes the Reisha as well. There's the machlekes there as well. According to Eliezer, a lot of that nekeva, Pesach and Pesach, even before Pesach, can be directed to the shlamim track. Abaye Amar loy palagmidi. Abaye disagrees. He says actually, there's no machlekes in the Reisha. In the first case, when it's before Pesach, even if Eliezer agrees, you can't do that. Let me explain to you why. You know what the basis for Elazar's position is? You know what his premise is? So we had him in the Mishnah, right? Elazar says, the Mafresh Nekeva La'oila, and she gave birth. The blood is a Zachar, use him as a Zachar. You know why? It's based on something very different than we had taught until now. The Gemara, we have a Kabbalah. We have an established formula. Something called moisar. Moisar means, suppose he had a carbon, and nervous fellow, so he did another one as a backup. Well, let's say one got lost, so he quickly got himself another one, and he found the first one. Now you have two on your hands. One is considered a moisar. So what's the halach of moisar? So each type of carbon has its own moisar system. By oila, the leftover one is an oila. By asham, the leftover one, roya, you have to let it pasture, get a mum, and redirect it as an oila. Come Pesach, leftover Pesach turns into a shlamim, provided it's after Pesach. So the leftover one is a shlamim. But if it's still before Pesach and you have two before you, you can't really, at this point, this early point, you have to wait it out until after. At this point, you can't decide, okay, one is a shlamim, because really both are suitable for Pesach. You can't bring two carbon Pesachs. So it's really a little bit off the track. It's not really suitable at this point for Hakrava. There's no concept of Moisar at this point. And therefore, likewise, the Vlad, which we said follows the same track as the Moisar, is also not suitable for anything at this point. The mother is only suitable for its value, meaning you're going to redirect it as a shlamim by selling it, and the same thing with the Vlad. Sorry, you're going to redirect it as a carbon Pesach. Rashi says, use the money and buy with it a carbon Pesach. Same thing with the Vlad. So according to Abai, it's a very simple formula. The Vlad has the same status as the Moisar. Moisar means the extra carbon that's unneeded. So let's go down the list. Oila, Asham, and Pesach. We'll see in each case how it fits perfectly and corresponds with exactly with Reb Lezer's position on each respective carbon. The reason why Reb Lezer says the Vlad of Oilas Nekeva is an Oila, because the Moisar of Oila also will be considered a direct Oila. A person can bring as many Oilas as he wants. So same thing with the Vlad. The Vlad of Asham Nekeva. So just like the Moisar of Asham has to be sent out to get a mum and then reconverted into Oila, the same thing with the Vlad. The same thing with the fellow who is Mafresh and Nekeva as a carbon Pesach, just as the Moisar will be redirected and converted to money and to be used for carbon Pesach, likewise the Vlad. That's only because before Pesach. There's no other option for Moisar other than redirecting it to Dmei Pesach, to be used to buy up carbon Pesach. But after Pesach, the tables turn. after Pesach. What happens to Moisar? You have extra Korban Pesach, and it's after Yom Tov. It's over. You don't need it. Lachar Pesach. The Moisar Karev Shlamim. Vlad Nami Karev Shlamim. Here the Moisar is considered a Shlamim, so the Vlad as well. So even though it was in a Keva, but the Vlad is a Zachar, he's a perfect Shlamim. That's only after Pesach, Avlafnei Pesach, but it's still before Pesach. The Vlad of this Pesach Nekeva is not suitable for anything. Why? Because since the mother is not suitable, because again, Moisar before Pesach is not right for anything at this point, as we explained. So if a person is mafresh 2 karbanos for Korban Pesach, for Achrayus, as a backup, to be sure, right? So at this point you can't use both as a Korban Pesach, only one. Nor can you just pick out one and use him as a Shlamim, because he's still technically an active Korban Pesach. So it's not really suitable at that point. So likewise, the Vlad has the same status as the Moisar, and it's not suitable. Email my Agdasha, L'mei Pesach. So the mother, what kind of Kedusha does it have? It was destined to be converted, to be used for a buying of a Korban Pesach. Vlad Nami L'mei Pesach, likewise. The Vlad of that Korban at that stage is also for the same purpose, going to be designated for L'mei Pesach, to be converted into money to buy a Korban Pesach. Okay, so according to Abaye, pretty simple formula. The Vlad has the same status as Moisar. So by Oila, the Moisar would be directly for an Oila, likewise the Vlad of this Oilas Nekeva. By Asham, where it's Roya Yistoiv, and going to be used to buy an Adava, an Oilam. Same with the Vlad of the Asham Nekeva. By the Vlad of the Korban Pesach before Pesach, where the Moisar doesn't really have proper recourse, not as a Korban Pesach, not as a Shlamim. So the Vlad as well cannot be directly brought as a Korban. Rather we say, look, you have the same status as your mother. Your mother is a Korban Pesach Nekeva, which is not suitable. Unless you convert it into money and use it to buy a Korban Pesach, likewise, the child will have the same status. Meisiv Rav Ukra Bacham. I have a question. To Abaye, he says, Umi Amrinan, do we in fact apply this Vlad like Moisar formula? Umi Amrinan, Midi Ime, Lidmei, Vlad Nami Lidmei, do we say that since, in this case by the, Pesach Nekeva, the mother is intended Lidmei, meaning to convert into money, to be used to buy a Korban, so the Vlad has the same status. Vatanya, we have a Brisa, Hamafresh Nekeva Le Pesach. Oh, our case again. He sets aside a Behema Nekeva for Pesach. What does the Brisa say? He, Uvalade Seha, Yirachi Stavu, the mother animal, the offspring, sent out to roam around for a mum, and they're sold, Yimachru, V'yavi, B'dmei Pesach, to be used for purchase of a Korban Pesach. Rabbi Eliezer Oimer, here's Rabbi Eliezer, says, Hu'atzmei Korban Pesach. No, why go through the whole process? This offspring is a Zachar. He's good to go directly for a Korban Pesach. How? Well, but in our case, the email Idmei, this mother of the Yivlad was only meant for its value, as we said. It's not suitable for anything else. V'amar Eliezer, and what does Eliezer tell us about the Yivlad? Hu atzmai kar Pesach. The Vlad is perfectly suitable for Korban Pesach. He's not given the same status as his mother. Amravi, no. We're talking about a different story here. What happened was that this Vlad was not generated after the mother was designated as a Korban. No, when he was Magdash, the mother, she was already carrying the offspring within. So that unborn animal attained its own status, its own Kedusha, independent of its mother. And it attained a proper Kedusha because it was suitable. It was a Zachar. And therefore, there's no hesitation to taking it and putting it on the Mizbeach directly. Amar Avinu. B'mavrish, behema muberes askin, was speaking that he was mafresh, an expectant animal. In which case, the unborn gets its own Kedusha, its own status, unaffected by its mother. Sure, the mother is unsuitable, but I am suitable, says the Vlad. And Rabbi Eliezer, Savak Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Eliezer is in line with Rabbi Yechanan. If you recall, we had it a while ago that the unborn is given separate status from the mother, unaffected by the mother's deficiency. The Amar im Shirai Meshur, technically you can leave out the offspring from the kedusha of the mother. Why? Do ubar lav erech imuhu. We don't consider the ubar as a part of the thigh of the mother, part and parcel of the mother. It's a separate entity. Technically you can be magdish the mother without the offspring. So likewise, if it decided to include the child, it's not in conjunction with the mother. It's not one package with the mother. Rather, it's a separate hegdish. Granted, the mother doesn't get kedusha guf because she's in a keva. But the vlad can have its own kedusha, a proper kedusha, highest level kedusha, and bring him as a pesach. I'll even prove to you from the wording of the Bryce that we're speaking about this type of case. The behema buberes askim was speaking about an animal that was already carrying when he was magdish. The offspring was already present. Look at the Bryce again. It says he, the mother animal, which sounds like the vladis had there already at the time of designation. That confirms our theory. Okay, so again, according to Eliezer, the Vlad is suitable, bring him as a korban, despite the mother's status. But according to Abaye, it has to fit into a very specific formula. The same status as Moisar, so does the Vlad. We have an exception to the rule, which is that if the Ubar was already in the mother, was already present in some form, when he was magdish the mother, so then it's unaffected by the mother's deficiency. So although the mother was a keva, which is not suitable for Pesach, but the Vlad, which happens to be a Zachar, gets his own yichus, his own independent kedusha. And of course, you can offer him directly as a korban. We turn to the base. Amar Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Chanina. Although, according to Rabbi Eliezer, the Vlad of a Eilas Nekeva is suitable for a korban directly. So you could be makriv that Vlad, which is a Zachar, as an Eilah, despite his mother being unsuitable for her intended purpose, because an Nekeva is not kosher for an Eilah. You're meant to know that halacha is specific to a Vlad of an Eilas Nekeva. Umaydir Rabbi Eliezer. However, Rabbi Eliezer would agree b'mafresh Nekeva la'asham. Suppose he set aside an Nekeva animal as an asham, which is unsuitable. An asham, like an Eilah, like a Pesach, is meant to be a Zachar only. In this case, if she has a Vlad, which happens to be a Zachar, de'ein bina karev asham. The Vlad will not be karev as an asham. Rather, you let it go out in the farm till it gets a mum, convert it to money, and buy with that an asham. So again, Rabbi Eliezer's chiddush is that a Vlad of a Nekeva can be used directly as an asham. That's only by an Eilah. A Vlad of an Eilah is Nekeva, but not a Vlad of a asham Nekeva. Pshita, well, obviously, let's go back to the reason. That reason only applied by Nekeva lo Eilah. Pshita, ad kan lo kamar Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer only holds that position, el b'mafresh nekeva lo. That's only when he set aside nekeva as an oilo, because although technically she's not suitable, but in concept, there is a type of oilo that can be in nekeva as well. So the two aren't really mutually exclusive. The ikar shem oilo al ima, the concept of oilo, the name Eilah. There's an element of Eilah on the mother as well. Why? Because you can have Eilas Nekeva in a bird form. So in this case, although the mother is not suitable, but the Vlad, which happens to be a Zachar, carries over the Shem Eilah and can be actualized as an Eilah directly. But when it's a Nekeva La'asham, the Leka Shem Asham Alimoi. In this case, there's no element of an Asham on the mother at all. There's no type of asham at all that can be a nekeva. I feel Rabbi Eliezer might even would agree in this case, like Karav Asham, that the Vlad will not be an asham. So it's obvious because he's coming from a tainted source, something which is completely locked out of Asham. How can the child be better than the mother? So what's the point of even mentioning this case? Well, it's not so simple. If not for him teaching us that a vlad of an Asham can't be an Asham, I would think, maybe Rabbi Eliezer is not based on that factor. Rather, if you're good, you're good, despite your problematic origin. I would suggest time with Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer's basis is lav mishum das shem oil, not because there's an element of oil on the mother, hence it carries over to the child. Ela mishum the chazik lad lakrov. Rather, it's because, look, you have a child who's a zachar, use him as an oil, despite his problematic source. And in our case as well, it's a vlad of an asham. This vlad is a zachar, use him as an asham, despite the unsuitability of the mother. Kamash Mulam comes, Rabbi Chanina teaches us, no. It's not just about his suitability. It's about his source, about his origin. And yes, only by Eilas Nekeva, where there's an element of Eilah on the mother, that can be actualized in the child, but not by Asham, where there's no element of Asham on the Asham Nekeva. Ihachi. Says the Gemara, that's his point. And if, in fact, that's the reason for Blessed halacha, because there's an element of Eilah on the mother. So let's just focus again on this statement, this halacha of today. Mafresh nekeva la'asham. The ben, the vlad of that cannot be used as an asham. Now, why did he have to highlight the halacha this way? That the vlad cannot be an asham. He should have highlighted it in a different way. He should have said, look, that the vlad cannot be an oila, despite the fact that in some cases the mother asham will be somehow converted into an oila. In some cases, still the vlad cannot be an oila, because the mother is not directly going to be an oila, maybe through its value, through selling. And once you know that, then certainly you know that the vlad cannot be an asham, which the mother has no relevance to. So why didn't he teach it to us that way? Why did he have to say the vlad of a asham nekeva cannot be an asham, which is a more simple version of the halacha? He should have said, well, it can't be an oila, and certainly it can't be an asham, which the mother has no relevance to. If in fact it's the mother relevance factor that's at play. If it's all about the mother's relevance to this status, so instead of teaching us the halacha in this fashion that the vlad can't be an asham, nishmein, he should have taught it us differently. The child can't be an oila, despite the fact that there isn't a potential element of oila on the mother in some cases. Huadin la'asham, certainly it cannot be an asham which the mother has no relevance to. Says the Gemara, yeah, shmina an oila. Well, you can go the other way too. If the halacha would have been stated as oila, that the child can't be an oila, I would say, well, maybe only an oila. Oila would like carve. You can't bring the vlad as an oila delay agdash l'ima. Kedushas oila, because after all, the mother was never really labeled as an oila. It was meant to be an asham. So you can understand that the vlad can't have a direct kedushas oila of asham, but with respect to bringing the vlad as an asham, maybe there's room to think that, yeah, ema vlad karv asham. Maybe in this case, since the mother was really meant to be an asham, that's what he had in mind. Maybe the vlad can be an asham. Kamashman comes here and tells us no. And since the mother was not roi for asham, likewise the vlad as well. So bottom line, according to Rabbi Eliezer, at times, even if the mother animal is not karev for its intended purpose, but the vlad it will be karev. For instance, by an oila, where there's an element of oila even on the mother who's in the keva, because you have some type of oila which is in the keva, like by a bird. So that element carries over to the vlad, and since he's a zachar, you bring him as an oila. But it will not apply to an asham. And we discussed the Pesach as well. So yeah, after Pesach, yeah, but because Meiser Pesach Harav Shlamim, because we have a Shlamim connection there as well, even in the mother, whereas before Pesach, there's no Shlamim option, so therefore the Vlad will also be directed to the same direction as the mother, which is with May Pesach. Oh, speaking of which, says the Mishnah, Mafish Nekeva Asham. Exactly our case, he took an Nekeva and decided it's going to be an Asham, which of course it's not going to work. So, only option is let it get a mum and transfer the money. Tirach it the stove, send it out to the farm for a mum, have it sold. Yaviv the Asham, use the money to buy an Asham. Okay, so it in itself is not right, but its value is. Vim Karev Asham. I suppose he got himself another Asham and he processed it. Now he doesn't need this one. So this is called Moisar Asham, leftovers from the Asham, and the halacha is Yipul Damel Dama. The money is forwarded to the Ndava, which is a special fund in the Beis HaMikdash, which was used to finance Oilois Nedavas Tzibor. So the public would bring donated, volunteer Oilois. So that's another term for it called Kaitz HaMizbech. The Kaitz, like the dried figs, like the dessert for the Mizbech. When the Mizbech was idle, it would keep it occupied. It would fill the empty slots with these karbanos. Reb Shimon Aimer, yeah, I agree that it goes that way, but skip the mum. There's no need for a mum. Timachash le b'mum. Sell it without a mum, because this thing never rose to the level of Kedushas HaGuf. When something has Kedushas HaGuf, you need to downgrade it. Before you sell it, you have to get it mum. It gets downgraded, bumped down to Kedushas Damim, then you sell it. Tanakama assumes that an Kevel Asham has an element of Kedushas HaGuf, which requires the mum process in order to get it sold. Reb Shimon says it never arrived at that level of Kedushas HaGuf because it wasn't Reif HaKrav, it's in a Kevel Asham, so at most it had Kedushas Damim, just sell it as is. And that's the Gemara's kasha, V'lam li tistayv. According to Tanakama, why bother getting a mum? Timacher, just sell it as is. It never, assumingly, it never got to the level of Kedushas HaGuf. It wasn't a keva, Timacher. Kivit Mleichazal Milsa, since it wasn't really suitable for its intended purpose, for Akrava, it was in a keva, it was the wrong gender, that's the biggest mum possible. So it never got to the point of Kedushas HaGuf. Amar Rav, Yudah Amar Rav, Hainu Tamid Amrinan. I'll tell you why you need a mum. Because we say Migu the Nachsal Kedushas Damim, true. He only generated Kedushas Damim. But once Kedushas Damim takes a hold, it rises up. It gets upgraded. Nachsal Nam Kedushas HaGuf gets applied as well, gets upgraded to that level, in which case the only way to redeem it is to bump it down again through a mum. Amar Rava, in fact, Rava concurs with this halacha, or Samaris with them from here, that whenever a Kedushas Damim gets a foothold, it spreads and it expands and rises and it gets upgraded to Kedushas HaGuf. Here's another example. Higdash Zachar L'Damav. A fellow took an animal, a male, ram. He says, I'm going to bring it as, let's say, an oila, but not directly. L'Damav. I want to sell it and use the money to buy an oila. So he only granted it Kedushas Damim. Does it remain limited to Damim? No, Kadesh Kedushas HaGuf now rises up to the next level because look, it's unblemished, whole, complete. You can't redeem it now. You take it in itself and you mark it on the Mizbeach. Using this concept of Migu. Since it has Kedushas Damim, it rises to the next level as well. And that's based on Rabbi Rav's halacha in understanding our Mishnah. Itma, in fact, we had a discussion about this very case. Hikdir Zachal Adamav. Rav Kana Amar, Kadesh Kedushas HaGuf. He says it gets upgraded to inherent Kedusha. Rava Amar, no. Ain't Kadesh Kedushas HaGuf, because after all, that's what he intended to do. Only for its value. But in fact, Rava conceded to Rav Kahana that once it's Kaddish on any level, it rises to the next level based on Midravidim Rav. Understanding of our Mishnah. He says, don't bother with the mum process. At most is Kedushas Damim. Go sell it as is. Now comes the question, what about the migu? Amal Rav Chia bar Avin Rabbi Yochanan migu denachsa lekdushas damim techos lekdushas aguf namik dushas aguf. According to Reb Shimon as well. I mean, once you have some level of kedushas damim, it should automatically rise to the next level. Amalei, he says Reb Shimon disagrees with this point. Tamei, he follows his known opinion, the Amar, where he says, "Kol midi deloy chazel gufei," something which is not suitable for its intended purpose. Loy nachsal gusaguf, it never gets to the level of gusaguf. The sanis we find in the Bryce, and basically the same will apply in our case. It's in a cave of ashab. It's not meant for hakrava. It stays limited at a basic level of klushas dam. The sani we have a Bryce describing unsuitable animals where it only has klushas damim and no more. Asham ben shana. So this fellow was obligated to bring a carbon asham ben shana within a year of its birth. Behavior ben shtayim, and he brought an older one, within the second year of birth. So basically, it's too old for his intended purpose. Or the other way around, ben shtayim was meant to be a 2-year-old. Behavior ben shani brought a 1-year-old. Ksheira, it works. So the carbon is kosher, but it doesn't get applied to the owner's credit. He has to bring another one. Reb Shimon Omer kol atzman in kedusha. No, he says there's no kedusha at all. There's no kedusha saguf at all. Because he had earmarked it for a specific purpose, and since it's not working for that purpose, it doesn't get the kedusha saguf at all. Asks the Gemara, really, is that so? If it's not fit, it doesn't work. So you have an animal which is a newborn. It's still yet before 8 days old. It's not really roi for carbon. You have to wait until the 8th day. It's not roi. It's not suitable. And still, Reb Shimon himself teaches us the Kaddish that yes, if you magdish an animal at this early stage, it becomes kedusha saguf. Says the Gemara, Shani mechusas zman. That's different to chazil l'machar because it's only a temporary hold. It's just premature, but it's going to be suitable tomorrow, the next day. So it is considered technically suitable, and therefore it has kedusha saguf. Okay, if that's the case, let's go back to the cases in the Brisa. One case was that he was magdish too early. Yachi, if that's the case, asham ben shtayim. He's meant to bring an asham of 2 years old. Maybe Ben Shani brought it 1-year-old. According to Reb Shimon, there's no kedusha. Hachazil l'shana. What do I mean? It's going to be fit the next year. It's just a matter of waiting it out. Says the Gemara, but even that has a limit. It's only by b'chusas zman, which is just a couple of days. Only in that case, Reb Shimon says it can be granted kedusha saguf. Elohim time the Reb Shimon. B'chusas zman. I'll tell you why Reb Shimon applies kedusha saguf to a premature situation, a b'chusas zman situation, pre-8 days old. He has a precedent. Look at every b'chor. Newborn kosher animal has kedusha upon birth, despite the fact that he's still too early for hakrava. He's not yet 8 days old. The son you find in the Brisa. Reb Shimon Rabbi Shimon, he calls Reb Shimon b'chusas zman nichnas l'delis aser. That a newborn can be counted in the pen and counted with the other animals with respect to Maser Behema, because he can obtain kedusha saguf even at that early stage in life. Why? As we see by Bechor. Ma Bechor Kadosh Lifnei Zmanai, Bechor V'lachas Zman is just like a Bechor is Kadosh upon birth, even prior to being Roi for Hakrava, despite the fact you have to wait him out and only be makrim at 8 days old. Likewise, Mechusas Zman, a newborn animal Kadosh Lifnei Zmanai, you can be Mekadosh him right now, despite the fact you have to wait until 8 days of Vikar Lachas Zman. It's not specific to Mechusas Zman, but in terms of a 1-year-old instead of a 2-year-old, in that case we say if he's not roi for his intended purpose, it's not going to be Kadosh Kedusha Saguf at all. Likewise now, Mishnah is Magdashei Nekeva La'asham, according to Reb Shimon, has no Kedushas Hakuf. Okay, all the best to you, and that's Lachara.